What up, though? It's your boy KG Kevin Gill, and you got it locked in while being driven through the Spanish announce table.
The Spanish announce table.
Kevin Gill was right. You have found pro wrestling's best podcast, your favorite podcast, the Spanish Announce Table. Tim and Tom here, ready to talk about some pro wrestling. We had AEW Double or Nothing this weekend. We had WWE's Night of Champions this weekend. You even had NXT's Battle this weekend.
I was thinking, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about the pay-per-view Double or Nothing. I can foreshadowing. I'm going to bring up Night of Champions, but I forgot that it was this weekend.
It was like a thing. Yeah, that it happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
funny.
we're going to talk about all that fun stuff. We would love if you join us here live on the YouTube. Of course, if you're listening back on the podcast, we understand you cannot go back in time, or can you? And join us live, but you can do it next week when we do this Thursday nights live here on the YouTube at precisely on the dot, exactly 7:15-ish. And join us, talk to us, get in the chat, talk about pro wrestling. But you do that in other ways. We got a bunch of tweet the tables. We got about 5 of them, I think, Tom. Tweet the tables that you can go on Twitter, use hashtag tweet the table and talk to us. And you can always just send us an email, tableshow@gmail.com. And by the way, Tom, we've talked about this briefly, but we have a 10-year anniversary show coming up next month in July. And so we want any old listeners, get the word out. And I don't mean old, but I mean, you're probably old if you've been listening to us for 10 years, but long-time listeners, send us something, right? Send us an email, a video, audio chat, something, talk to us, say something. Help us reminisce for the 10-year anniversary and get the word out to your other friend, apostrophe S, about our 10-year anniversary show.
However, caveat, if you've only listened to us for a couple months, send us something.
New listeners also, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is not just like you had to be an OG back when we did it at Cumulus. Like anytime, Papa Shango's basement, you could do it now, you could do it then, anytime.
Speaking of joining us live in the YouTube chat and longtime listeners, we even have famous listeners, Tom. One of those is in the YouTube chat right now. Mr. Adam Pearson says, tweet the table, baby. And yes, please tweet the table. We've got some tweet the tables. I know Twitter's a thing still. While it lasts, we're still doing tweet the table. So please join us. We will talk about that. We've got some talk about AEW. We've got some to talk about AEW coming up later as we talk about AEW. We're also going to talk about Tom's got a special segment for us this week.
Yeah.
It is almost halfway through the year, so we've got the almost mid-year awards coming up tonight.
It's on top of everyone's mind. It's on the top of everyone's mind.
And, of course, we're going to take a trip in the Spanish Announce Time Machine and talk about things that happened back in time on this day in pro wrestling. Tom, God, I'm excited for this episode. What about you?
Well, I'm glad you are. So let's get started with On This Day.
Okay, I guess we'll let the therapist dig into that one there, and we'll start with...
That's a good one.
Yes. By the way, this is a fun segment that we used to do, and we're doing again. We like to take a trip. Oh, Adam Pearson says, so have AEW just had their first pay-per-view? Ooh.
Oh, we are going to talk about it, Adam, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Tom's takes tonight.
Oh, tepid.
They're solid. He's picking a side here, and he's sticking with it either way, right? Tom, right here. All right, we will be taking a trip in the Spanish Announce Time Machine and talking about things that happened on this day in pro wrestling history. You may notice if you're watching us live that these are a little predated because I like to use these for social media clips. Next week, magic of television, right? Play along and join us as we talk about what happened on this day. June 5th, 2000.
Okay.
You know where we're going here, right? WCW Nitro.
Jeff Jarrett, you asshole.
No. Maybe you got to guess. WCW Nitro was held in Atlanta, Georgia. Matches on the card included Goldberg defeated Tank Abbott, right?
Tank Abbott, God bless him.
Tank Abbott, yeah. Billy Kidman lost to G.I. Bro. G.I. Bro. Scott Steiner defeated Vampiro. Hulk Hogan defeated Horace Hogan in a steel cage match.
Yep, his nephew.
Vince Russo defeated Ric Flair in a steel cage match. Kevin Nash won a gauntlet, defeating Disco Inferno, Chris Candido. Yeah,
he did.
Better. Yeah, Disco Inferno. Hard gauntlet here for Kevin Nash. Disco Inferno, Chris Candido, Johnny the Bull, Big Vito, and Rey Mysterio Jr. in succession. Terry Funk lost the WCW Hardcore Championship in a hardcore match to which wrestler?
I don't know like his WCW name, but it was Sandman. Right?
That's a great guess because it's a hardcore title and a hardcore match, but that is not the correct answer. The correct answer is
Mike Awesome?
Not Mike Awesome. That's a good, yeah. What was he doing? Was he the Fat Chick Thriller? And
Yep.
Mike Awesome. It is Eric Bischoff, the
fuck.
world-renowned hardcore enthusiast, WCW 2000, Eric Bischoff. Oh, Theo says we should bring back Scott Steiner sound clips. We might be able to work those back in here.
Yeah, donate $1.
Yeah, we've got a new sound clip from current. We are trying to stay somewhat current, but of course,
But
Scott Steiner clips.
Timeless.
You know what I mean?
Timeless.
Is timeless, right? Yeah. Yeah, we should be ashamed of ourselves. We are
A bunch of nerds.
Yeah, all right, we'll get the Scott Steiner clips going back again. Yeah, all right, now let's find out what happened. June 6, 1993. WWF Monday Night Raw tapings were held in Albany, New York. They were all over New York this time. Matches on the card included Bam Bam Bigelow being disqualified in his match against Tatanka. Yokozuna defeated Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh.
Luna Vachon defeated Sensational Sherry.
What a fucking match. Those are two chicks that were ahead of their time. Anyhow, go ahead.
They definitely were. The WWF World Tag Team Champions Money Inc. were disqualified in their title match against Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Hulk Hogan. This is a weird time frame, right? Because the names I just said there. And then we got the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels defeated Marty Jannetty for the Intercontinental Championship after having just lost that title to his former Rockers partner a few weeks prior. But this card is also noteworthy as the WWF programming debut of which eventual WWE Hall of Famer? Yes.
The debut. And what year again? 93?
June 93? 1993, yes.
The debut?
Yeah, the WWE debut of this eventual WWE Hall of Famer.
Wow. Trump.
No.
No. I'm going to say
he was on before 93, I think. Yeah.
93. I'm going to say, was it Farouk?
It was not Farouk. Good thought there. Adam Pearson says I missed the Mad Ox clip. And yeah, we should find a way to incorporate the Mad Ox clip at the very
All right,
least.
what is it though? What is it?
This is Kevin Nash. This is when Nash appeared as Diesel and would align with Shawn Michaels as his bodyguard. I don't even know if they named him Diesel right away then either, if I remember correctly. He was just that guy, right? This imposing figure, or whatever the fuck McMahon would have said.
Splitting hairs, Tim. But is it Diesel in the Hall of Fame, or is Kevin Nash in the Hall of Fame?
Aren't they both?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, I said Kevin Nash, and he appeared as Diesel and would
right.
As Shane.
So is Diesel in the Hall of Fame, or is it only Kevin Nash?
No, Kevin Nash is Diesel. Yeah.
I mean, yes, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Hey, who's driving the fucking time machine here? God damn, you're never happy.
Ooh, good guess.
So you didn't fucking care where we eat? Oh, I fucking picked this restaurant. All right, calm down. I'm having a little flashback here. Flashbacks. All right. No, but Kevin Nash, I mean, we've talked about this. If I go back, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, just because of his, like, he embodied what it meant to be cool in that day and age, right? I think that's why wrestling was so hot back then, too, is because some of the biggest acts were just straight up cool people. You had your Scott Halls, your Kevin Nash, Steve Austin, right? They just had general, Shawn Michaels. They just had general coolness about them.
Yeah. Now, in retrospect, though, and not to say this is only Kevin Nash, this is a handful of people, though, they definitely thought that they were cool. You hear him talk? It's hey! Yeah. I always think back to the comment of Kevin Nash on Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Sessions when he said, "I was the closest thing wrestling had to Tupac." Mm-hmm. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. That's a real quote from Kevin Nash.
I know you used to tie your bandana in the front in a way that would have got you shot if you guys did shows in Watts. But
I know this was your appearance, but you were not. You were not Tupac.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that. He was a cool guy to hang around in that time, and I'm sure he's a cool guy now. But yeah. Adam Pearson says Nash's quads are made of broken dreams and Atari hardware. That's good stuff. I like that. All right, let's move on to the next day here. On this day, June 8th, 1988.
Okay.
NWA Clash of the Champions 2 Miami Mayhem was held in Miami, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Windham on the card defeated Brad Armstrong. Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers, listen to them names. Bobby and Tommy defeated Butch Miller and Luke Williams. You may otherwise know them as the Bushwhackers. Jimmy Garvin and Ronnie Garvin defeated Mike Rotunda and Rick Steiner, which is a fun pairing.
Yeah, that predated Scott Steiner.
Right. Nikita Koloff defeated Al Perez, which is a name I don't recognize.
Mm-hmm.
The NWA World Tag Team Champions Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard of the Four Horsemen wrestled to a double disqualification in their title match against Dusty Rhodes and which wrestler? June 8, 1988, Clash of the Champions 2, Miami Mayhem. Dusty Rhodes is teaming up with this man to take on Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard.
Lex Luger?
Ooh, such a great guess, and you're on the right track. But
Sting?
Sting. It is Sting. 1988 Miami NWA Wrestling. This is prime stripper cocaine time, right? This is
the best time in pro wrestling.
They are living it up. They are making the towns, right? Probably in an Oldsmobile.
Hell yeah, brother.
Staying at like motels off the highway. Gold chains, right?
Bar fights with each other just to make the local newspaper.
Not a camera in sight anywhere to catch any of the shit they're doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
But it's always, famous heel wrestler knocks out anonymous person, which ended up being just one of their friends. But it was like, oh man, that guy's tough. Wait till they come back in town. Right. It's like, well, it was a work because they just did it amongst themselves, idiots. But they were so tough back then. There's one guy, Ming, he ripped off someone's nose. Because you've always heard of the time when someone got their nose ripped off. Look, I'm not saying that those guys were not tough as far as like they could overcome physical feats of strength or that they couldn't like gut through something. But this idea that they were the best fighters in the fucking world, easy, okay?
Right.
Take it
easy. Here's something that's real fun, Tom, that we're going to do because this is the magic of, the internet and podcasting and social media.
Hell yeah.
We just talked about what happened on this day on June 8th, 1988. But if you'll notice, might have skipped a day in our weekly progress. So we're going to hop back in the time machine. The beauty of having a time machine is we're going to go back even a day. And, when we chop this up for social media, no one will be the wiser except for you folks who listened and watched live on the live stream, and maybe listen back on the podcast later. But fuck it, right? Give us some money. Maybe we'll be better at this. Give us $1, donate. Yeah, we'll go on there. Let's see what happened.
Are we doing?
On June 7th, 2010. 2010.
Not a good time. Not a good time.
Not a good time. A viewer's choice edition of WWE Raw was held in Miami, Florida. You remember this? Where they would like vote on matches and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. This card featured one of the most memorable endings to a Monday Night Raw ever. The main event match between John Cena and CM Punk ended in a no contest. When the 8 rookies of the recently concluded first season of NXT rushed the ring and destroyed everything in their sight, Daniel Bryan was eventually released from WWE due to this segment after the company received backlash from Bryan choking ring announcer Justin Roberts with his own necktie. These remaining 7 rookies would eventually be known as Nexus and would become a staple of Monday Night Raw for many weeks to come. So besides Daniel Bryan, Tom, can you name the 7 members of the original Nexus?
Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett. Yes.
So does Ryback count? Because
Ryback counts, but it was Skip Sheffield. Yeah, I'll give it to you. If you can identify who it is, I'm not going to get hung up on the semantics. Yeah. Because there's one of these you're not going to get.
The lawyer that was married to Jennifer Hudson.
Yes, it's David Otunga.
David Otunga. The flippy guy. Now he's in the Independents.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, what is his name?
Yeah, now he's PJ Black, but in WWE, he was from South Africa, right?
Yep. He was that guy. So there's that one.
Justin Gabriel. Yep.
Yeah. What a fucking generic name.
Yes.
So that's So I've got 4.
Yep.
5 would be Tarver.
Michael Tarver. That's the one I thought you would not get. So
I remember. Yeah, because I remember. I thought he was cool.
That's the one name. Well, you remembered Wade Barrett, but like the only name you've remembered is Tarver.
Tarver.
The one I thought you wouldn't get.
No. So there's Tarver. And then there's Heath Slater.
Heath Slater. Oh, you're sitting on 1 remaining, huh?
Yeah. And then, damn.
You take any days off, Tom? No days off?
Mr. No Days Off. Oh, wait a minute. John Cena, Black John Cena.
Black John Cena's Darren Young, yeah.
Darren Young.
You got it.
I swear to God, the first time I saw him, I remember calling my friend up and I was like, are they doing John Cena in blackface? And he's like, what? And he turned it on. And there was like 7 seconds where we're like,
I can't believe they never did anything with that. Like, that bothered me to no end because, like, that
was 100% John Cena.
Look so much alike. So much alike. Especially then. Like, nowadays, you couldn't run that gimmick back. They don't look enough alike anymore.
2010,
At that moment in time, it was like Cena spray tanned too much and things went south. Yeah, absolutely. The Nexus, that was weird.
Yeah. I mean, the only moment that came from it was obviously the first night when they, even outside of the Daniel Bryan thing, it was still a cool moment. And then it became even more infamous because he got fired. And then the other only moment that they had was when Daniel Bryan came back at SummerSlam as the mystery partner for John Cena, Bret Hart, Edge, Chris Jericho.
I remember seeing Punk then led it and then added new members and stuff.
Yeah, that was after John Cena beat all of them in one night. That was when they were done.
That was the Nexus Wolf Pack, but just less cool. It didn't even work.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, well then let's do the last one. June 9th, 1997. WCW Monday Nitro aired from Boston, Massachusetts. Alex Wright defeated Chris Jericho. Conan and Steve Mongo McMichael wrestled to a draw. Riveting television. Lex Luger defeated Hulk Hogan via submission.
That was one of my matches of the day.
Yeah. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were disqualified in their tag team match against Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. And the WCW United States Championship changed hands when Dean Malenko was pinned by which wrestler?
United States title?
United States title. Dean Malenko was pinned. Lost that title.
What year?
1997.
Goldberg.
Ooh, Goldberg was a solid choice. But you know,
Okay,
it's not
hold on,
Goldberg.
one more.
Yeah.
One more. DDP.
Ooh, DDP's a good solid choice. Yeah, that's good. But you know, it's not DDP either.
Chris. Oh, God damn it.
It's Jeff Jarrett winning another title. Winning another title. Jeff Jarrett, Tom's favorite of all time. Jeff Jarrett.
You motherfucker. Oh, you got me, you son of a bitch.
Made you think we weren't going there.
Yeah.
And we got him. We found Jeff Jarrett. I wouldn't leave you hanging without a Jeff Jarrett. All right. Tell you why I like you so much.
Bitch.
This segment's my new favorite segment.
Yeah, I know why it's your favorite, you son of a bitch. Oh my God, what a fucking theater of the mind fuck that was.
Well, speaking of Jeff Jarrett, you're going to bestow awards upon some of your favorite moments in pro wrestling for this half year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to do one moment and then the other are just general acts. So again, as we mentioned at the top, this is going to be the almost mid-year awards. It's on the top of everyone's mind. We're all thinking of it. Right. So I might as well just do it now, right?
We're beating everyone to the punch.
So
mid-year awards.
Fun thing about this, Tim doesn't know who I picked. And so we're just going to kind of tell my categories and then tell my picks and then see what Tim has to say. Maybe Tim has a better pick than I. Wouldn't be the first time. So for our almost mid-year awards, I'm going to start off with what was the hardest one for me. And it's entrance of the year. And the reason why it's the hardest one of the year, and I told you this off air, I think this is an all-time year for entrances across pro wrestling. I even said you could really say Nick Gage every time he wrestles in GCW could be entrance of the year because of how the crowd gets into such a frenzy, right? So that's off the charts. Awesome. You got to see it. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. And if you are close to a GCW show, you have to be a part of it. It's amazing. Tim and I did it last year. It's the best. So again, honorable mention, Nick Gage. Other honorable mentions before I give you my pick. You had Sami Zayn in Montreal. You had Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions, where he did his entrance in Arabic after visiting the Mecca. That was incredible. Obviously, his hometown, Montreal, was also insane. You had Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico with the crowd just losing their minds. Also this past weekend, speaking of Sami Zayn, you had another really cool entrance that I thought deserved a little of attention. Jade Cargill coming out with her sorority, and then that girl who sings Pretty Girls Walk Like This, and they do a whole little dance and everything before she kicks Ty Valkyrie's ass. That was cool. So all of those entrances, amazing. Better than I can think of in recent time. But Tim, for me, entrance of the year, given the circumstances of who they were or who they are, who they were facing, the stakes attached to the match, and how everyone was against them, I'm going with, from AEW Dynamite, the Ass Boys with Mini Men by 50 Cent.
Yeah.
That's
I forgot
because
all about
again,
it, but that's the one. That's the one. So good.
Because again, like breaking character or breaking kayfabe, Chambea for Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico, that had more of a social and cultural significance. Again, Sami Zayn and his personal connections to two of those towns, yes. But if I were to tell you, here's a pro wrestling entrance where you don't know anything about pro wrestling, I would argue that that's the best entrance of the year, because you immediately know from the boos that start before the music even hits that they hate them. The whole crowd hates them. If they win, the good team has to leave, and they all know it, including the tag team. Many men, if you listen to the words, it applies exactly to the Ass Boys in that situation. That's my entrance of the year. Ass Boys from AEW Dynamite.
I don't think I can argue with you on that one. I was trying to think. I was listening to all your, because, again, haven't heard these, so it's hard to think in the moment without kind of doing some, online looking things up. Mm-hmm. And then I was trying to think of anything else. You'd mentioned a bunch of honorable mentions. I was like, man, what else happened this year? And trying to restrict it again to January and on. Because I was like, well, we were at All Out. And then when I was like, oh, but that can't count, right? We can't count the, MJF returns, that kind of thing. That's a good one. God, I remember thinking, I was like, they've arrived, right? Now maybe, maybe not so much, right? But, but like that entrance was fire, and I hope they can use that again for big moments.
Yeah, they had their moment. If anything, they've had a moment in AEW. That's what I would say that they've at least done so far. All right, so now we're going to move on to my male wrestler of the year. And again, with this, you have a lot of great people out there currently. Kevin Owens, I think, is doing really, really good work. Jon Moxley, as always, is doing really, really good work, carrying the company at certain points throughout this year. Kenny Omega, we even saw a 5-star match in person with him and Vikingo. Again, and we can keep going on, but those are the honorable mentions that I had. But for me, I don't know if there's a guy, even though he may not be my favorite.
If I can real quick mention, we saw a Kenny Omega Vikingo match. We were in Kansas City when we saw that. Do my eyes deceive me? Are you wearing a Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl shirt?
I am.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that. All right. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I forgot they won the Super Bowl. Right.
Well, and so, Tim, just to clarify, this isn't Super Bowl 54 that we won. This is Super Bowl 57.
This was the last Super Bowl.
Last year.
Against the Eagles.
Not 2019 when we also won against the 49ers that time. It was last year's Super Bowl when we beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
57.
Yeah, not when we showed that we're better than San Francisco, but when we showed we're also better than Philadelphia.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And so sorry, back to the almost mid-year awards.
Yeah, no worries. So again, a lot of very honorable mentions there. You could argue that they are the almost mid-year wrestler of the year. But for me, I have to go with who I think is honestly the most over they've ever been. Maybe Becky Lynch, the man levels of over in pro wrestling as a whole. I'm going with Sami Zayn.
Ooh, Sami Zayn, huh? Almost mid-year male wrestler of the year.
You got the turn.
Yeah.
You got all the stuff with him and Jay. You got the whole stuff with him and Kevin Owens. Yeah. You got the reaction. You got the reactions like I talked about at Night of Champions and at the Montreal show.
I'd say the strongest contender that that comes to mind is MJF. Jungle Boy's had a great run the last couple months. I don't know if you'd give him an almost mid-year, if he's had enough time. So yeah, but you're not wrong with your choice either, right?
It's an opinion, and that's just to get you, conversation. And as always, if you disagree, a hashtag tweet the table or send an email, tableshow@gmail.com. Let us know who you got for these categories.
So you could argue Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins, yeah, definitely. Roman Reigns, even though he's not as active, every time he is active,
Kevin Owens, you mentioned.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes, even though he's a dork,
we did our 2 AEW fans predict WWE Night of Champions, and I went and checked. I went 5-2, and you went 4-3. We made the same exact picks except for the final. You picked Brock Lesnar, or you picked Cody Rhodes, and I picked Brock Lesnar. I think you were kind of somewhat right in the idea of the one match where you said the Usos would cause Roman to lose, albeit you said they thought they would be helping Roman. That didn't exactly kind of happen.
Initially it did.
Yeah, correct.
Initially it did, and then Roman
True.
Put his foot in it.
And then with the Cody Brock thing, I said he was just going to get suplex citied, which didn't exactly happen, but he did win. Yeah, Brock did win. Yep. So yeah, we made a claim that you didn't really have to watch at all.
Nope.
To moderately predict pretty well. And I think 5 and 2 is pretty good. I think 4 and 3 is more than, half. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's move on to the next category. This one was honestly the hardest one, not because of so many moments, because I
slashing both of our tires because we're talking about the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. You know what?
Bring it.
Hey, I don't mind paying a couple $100 extra for some new tires, I guess, if I remember. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, worth it.
Please don't slash my tires. I want to be clear. I mean, I do have road hazard warranty, so, I mean, there is that.
I rarely drive my car, if any.
That's right. You live in a very highly walkable area.
Yeah,
nice.
I don't know.
I walk every day. I live in a highly walkable area, but not for any commerce. It's a nature walk.
I can't even tell you, though. We're recording this on a Thursday night. And again, we don't have public transportation like a New York or anything like that. I can't tell you the last time I drove my fucking car.
It's probably best.
Driving it tomorrow. I'm driving it tomorrow because I'm going to Big Slick, where I'm going to watch Super Bowl champions Travis Kelce, Creed Humphrey, and Patrick Mahomes play a celebrity softball game at Kauffman Stadium. Motherfuckers, what's up?
That'll be really fun. And it's probably best for everybody that Tom is not on the streets as often as possible. We've seen how angry he gets at pro wrestling.
I'm in these streets. I'm just not in a car.
He's not driving in these streets.
Yeah.
He's waiting for you to get out of your car.
Yeah. Come on
meet
now.
him in these streets.
Yeah, you can see me in these streets.
All right, so
let's get back to
mid-year awards. Almost mid-year awards.
Almost mid-year awards. And as I was saying, this is the hardest category for me. It's Female Wrestler of the Year. And not because, as I mentioned with Entrance of the Year, there's this plethora of so much going on that what do you pick? Honestly, for Female Wrestler of the Year, it's kind of slim pickings. Because Bianca Belair, even though she's been champion the entire time of the year, except for obviously this past weekend, does anyone really on fire for Bianca matches? Not really. Asuka, up and down. Who knows what's going on with her?
Yeah.
Becky Lynch, again, kind of up and down. And then doing this Legends thing with Lita and Trish that's been kind of hit and miss. Over in
Alexa
AEW.
Bliss is pregnant and won't be around. You would know that if you heard our news.
Yep. Over in AEW, Jamie Hayter, who is awesome, but not really seen week to week, you know? The Outcasts, I don't think are necessarily, lighting the world on fire.
You could argue now Tony Storm coming down as a 2-time champion, but that's very recent with this win.
Yeah. Right. So I'm going to go with the person who I feel like is positioned as the 2023 version of China. And so I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley.
Ooh,
I think the mommy thing that she's got with Dominic, I think that every time she's stepping up to Solo Sakaya or AJ Styles, all this stuff where she's being positioned like, okay, bring it. And the guys are like, shit, I might not win this one. Obviously she's a champion. She won in a very good match at WrestleMania over Charlotte. For all those reasons, I'm going Rhea.
I think she was my first female pick in pro wrestling's best mock draft, if memory serves me correctly.
That you lost.
I think it. No.
That you lost.
No, yeah.
The vote said it. Yeah.
You know what I determined is
Logan Paul's not a good pick.
Next time that we do these picks and we want to have something on the line and loser has to do something. Yeah. Loser's gonna have to pick a random date in a WCW 2000 Nitro and watch that start to finish in real time, right? No 1.5 speed, no skipping.
Well,
watch it all.
We
do a report. Yeah.
Well, we could do a callback to episode 21 and just watch an episode of WCW 2000 drunk. Because that was fun.
Might need to do that. Yeah, absolutely. Rhea Ripley is the answer, I think, here. I think the only one you could argue are Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill, I think, just because of the stop-and-go nature, would be out. And Bianca Belair, more so just because it was the tail end of her kind of rising action, I would think you would leave that off. And I think you'd go with Rhea Ripley, absolutely. For the almost mid-year awards, I think that's a solid choice.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Now let's move on to our tag team, the tag team of the almost mid-year. This one has some good choices. You can go a couple different ways. If you wanted to go like with week in, week out entertainment, you could go maybe Alpha Academy, maybe Street Profits. You could even do a Sammy and Kevin Owens as they came together. Over in AEW, you still got the Acclaim. You got FTR, even though they were kind of absent most of this year so far. Ass Boys, as we mentioned, tag champs. But I'm going to go with not necessarily in-ring action, although they bring it, and they had one of the best WrestleMania matches on night one. But I'm going to go with the most interesting from a storyline perspective tag team, and I'm going with the Usos. I think their interactions with Sammy, with Kevin, with Roman, with Paul, with each other, and then their in-ring action where at the time earlier this year, they were defending week in, week out against the Street Profits, against Alpha Academy, against whoever it was. I really think they are the most consistent and top tier tag teams. They
100%.
are already top tier before 2023, but top tier for this half
100%.
year. Almost.
Out of the 7 names you mentioned here, Young Bucks, Usos, Owens and Zayn, Ass Boys, Alpha Academy, Acclaimed, FTR. Alpha Academy, as entertaining as they are, and as many spots as they had, I feel like are the lowest on this list.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Young Bucks probably maybe Ass Boys just above them. I think they had a good storyline that they ran with, and they made the most of it. Young Bucks above that just because, well-established veterans, but didn't really do anything from January to now that I think was like that we're going to write about in the history books, right? We won't be talking about a whole lot of them when we do. Right? Like, we're not going to do that. Owens and Zayn, obviously, had a big-time storyline, but a lot of it was still born out of some singles work they did, right? Acclaimed, again, I think after we caught them from January on, after their big kind of rising moment. So they did FTR and Usos. Like you said, Usos were more consistently in that spot, right? When they had the titles for that whole time, they were on the main event story of the entire company and the biggest company in the world. So yeah, I would go with the Usos.
Yeah, and with the Young Bucks, they were really doing trio stuff with Kenny Omega against Death Triangle for the majority of the year, that best of 7. So they weren't even really doing tag team stuff necessarily. So yeah, Usos, I think, so far the almost mid-year winner for
I love this.
tag team of the winter.
Every June, like first week of June, we should do the
almost mid-year
awards.
Yeah. Well, and it also will help us when we get to the end of the year, and so we don't have to cram last minute. We can go back to this episode.
Well, the thing is, like, if I don't get around to doing the prod work for it, I have a whole month where I can just chop out every time we say almost, and it's the mid-year awards. I take a month to get around to spicing it up and making it, yeah. So it can be the almost mid-year awards, it can be the mid-year awards. It's versatile. I love this. Yeah.
Editing magic. All right, so here we go. Now we're going to go to, I'm going to switch the order. I have it written in a different order, but I'm going to switch it because it ties together. Okay. I'm going to go with the feud of the year. And again, you have a lot of great choices here. You could do Death Triangle versus the Elite, best of 7 series. A couple of those matches were all timers, right? Like legitimately. Might have gone on a touch too long, but yep.
Nice.
You could obviously do Sammy and Kevin against the Usos night 1 of WrestleMania. You could do Cody versus Roman, WrestleMania. You could do Bryan Danielson versus MJF over in AEW. A lot of good options. But for me, who's making this list, I am going with the feud of the year. John Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page. Yeah. And here's the reason why. Because some could argue it's actually my favorite feud of the year is Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite. Well, that all started with a title match between Hangman and John Moxley in Cincinnati. And ever since then, when Moxley knocked out Hangman legitimately in the match, we have gotten all of this. We have gotten blood feuds and promos of the years and matches of the years and Anarchy in the Arena. And all of this stuff was born out of one-on-one match for the heavyweight championship between John Moxley and Hangman Adam Page.
What was the phrase we got from Moxley where he's like, or don't you remember or whatever? Like when he like pointing to his head when like.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like,
When
don't you remember we talked about it or whatever? Something.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
yeah. Or
it was
yeah.
so.
Don't you remember the violence?
They found a way to blend in 2023, which is difficult in the pro wrestling industry on live. This social media driven kind of company, to blend real and storyline into this to make you feel something and want an outcome, even though you understood this is we're watching a play happen here live on screen. It made you care, right? Like it made you be like, you had real life sympathy. I had dad's sympathy for Hangman. You know what I mean?
Well, it was a real incident, right? They took a real life concussion
right.
and then spawned that into Hangman has to watch himself because he wants this match, so he can't go out there and attack Jon Moxley, but Moxley's going to cut him down, and then all of this back and forth.
It really helped Moxley make that turn of what we have now, where Moxley is the remember when Brock Lesnar said, "I don't give a shit about your kids," and it really sunk in that no human empathy here for anything that you have. I don't care. Like, I care about me and my wife and, nobody else, right? Like,
Blackpool Combat
that moment, Moxley, hit for me. I was like, oh, we have a, he's not necessarily heel all the time, Moxley, because maybe that's dead in 2023, the hard lines, but, we have a out for himself and wouldn't piss on your face to put the fire out, Jon Moxley.
Well, I would argue more so than that, and this is where him and Eddie Kingston do it well. Both of them do it exceptionally well, probably better than anyone else. Is, if we were to go into this world as if it was real, they understood what they signed up for. So they understand the consequences. So if you go up against them and they know that they're violent and you get hurt, tough shit. That's what you signed up for. There's no
Yeah, they kind of approach it of listen, of course I could find empathy for you. I'm a human being. I have wife and I made the choice that one of us is going to have to suffer that.
And it's you.
And it's you. But you knew that coming in here, that if you didn't beat me, you were going to have to suffer that. You were trying to make me suffer that. That was your goal, and you failed.
And so, then he can go on both sides, where he can get jumped during a match because someone's trying to take advantage of him, or right now, he takes advantage of the Elite because he thinks that they are lesser than them, and they're getting the TV time, so let's get them out of AEW because we're the actual heart and soul of this company. So yeah, he's amazing. So, and on the other side, Hangman with the... One of my favorite promos. I didn't do promo because there's a little bit too much. And obviously, if you include Max Caster's raps, you could say that was a promo as well. But there's a little bit too many.
This weekend might have been promo of the year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's too much stuff. But if you go back to the two promos from this feud that just stand out to me, one, the Hangman promo where he's backstage with the doctor and he talks about that concussion and the EMTs looking at his phone and saying, "Is this your daughter?" and him not knowing his daughter's name. Was fucking incredible.
It was disheartening. Yeah.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, when Jon Moxley was in the stairwell, bleeding from his face, talking about how he's more of a dog than Hangman, and we're going to find out who's going to be on top after this next match that we have, and just the spewing of venom. I mean, Jesus Christ, those two were incredible.
Yeah.
So,
no, it was amazing. I agree with you too. I think that's the thing of the year. Quick question. Yeah, we kind of went down that. I want to go a little further down that rabbit hole. Could a Max Caster rap ever be so good we would consider it promo of the year? This one was really good, but a promo I feel like enhances a storyline, and these raps come at the match. You know what I mean? That's my worry, right? Is it can it tell the story, if you will?
Well, it made me more invested because I was like, is Blackpool Combat Club going to kill these guys now?
I mean, he found a way here where we've talked about how it is hard in 2023 to do the act that he's doing, right? I'm going to say something to piss you off, but also not get canceled, right? Is a hard line to walk. I can say many things to piss you off, to enrage you to want to fight, that I would not be allowed to come back on television and say again, right? Like, that's easy, right? But doing it, you know, getting you pissed off enough to where, like, the censors aren't going to take you down. He did that here in this promo on Double or Nothing, which, you know, we may talk more about. But, like, yeah, again, I was like, man, I'm trying to think, like, are there more promos that were better than that moment? Like, because I consider that a promo, right? It's just done in rap form.
Yeah, I mean, again, we can. I didn't have that as one of my categories, so we can maybe do some research, or again, have any of the listeners or viewers
give your thoughts on that be? Is that a promo? Is his raps a promo, or is it promo like?
Yeah, that is an interesting question. Okay, now to go to my last category, it's obviously going to be match of the year. And as I kind of alluded to before I said feud of the year, I said that feud of the year and match of the year are coinciding with each other. And so with that being said, my match of the year, and hold on, before I say that, actually, let's give some honorable mentions. As I said during the feud of the year, the Iron Man match between MJF and Bryan Danielson, off the charts, amazing. Vikingo versus Kenny Omega, Dynamite, amazing. The Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens versus Usos, amazing. Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn up there in Montreal, amazing. So there's a lot of good options that you had there. But for me, because I love violence, and I fucking love violence, I'm going with Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page, Texas Death Match, AEW Revolution. There was a fork to the forehead. There was buckets of blood. It ended with Hangman legitimately earning his nickname by hanging Jon Moxley from the ropes with a steel, what was it? It wasn't a steel pipe. It was a, what was it?
Yeah. Anyway.
Chain link. It was a chain.
Yeah,
it was a chain link, steel chain link. Yeah. And just hanging him from it. Like, it was insane.
Yeah. I agree with you. I'd have to go back and watch both of them, but right now I'd want to argue that MJF Danielson Iron Man match. I remember thinking that might be the best Iron Man match ever. Right. Yes. I was like, I'd have to do a deep dive on those, but that gave me instant feels like this would be a competitor for that.
Yes. And it is. Here's the only thing that I would argue in 2023, being a type of wrestling fan that we are. We both know it's coming down to the last 10 seconds in the 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can kind of check in and out.
And overtime. Yeah.
Yeah. There's always, yeah. And so that was my only caveat.
Long. Yes. That watching an Iron Man match, you really got to be invested in the story. You got to be
not necessarily. Not necessarily that it was an Iron Man match, because if you recall, Hangman and Bryan Danielson did an Iron Man match, but it was a draw, but we didn't know it was going to be an Iron Man match, right? They said 60-minute time limit, and then, oh shit, they went 60 minutes.
Right.
This was, it's going to be 60 minutes. And as a wrestling fans that we are, and probably you are that are listening, we know that means drama in the last 10 seconds or last minute.
The Iron Man match generally means like the Iron Man, you can have a 60-minute time limit, but it's still one fall. An Iron Man 60-minute means whoever gets the most falls in the 60.
Yeah, we're gonna go
right.
So you can kind of check in
work
and out
the same way. But yes, and yes, I will say, like, it's that unless you're so invested in the story, an Iron Man match can be a little bit long. You'd be like, Jesus, guys,
Bret Hart,
how
Shawn
many times
Michaels.
can you chop this guy?
Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels sucks. It sucks. Shawn Michaels is great. That match is boring as shit. I challenge anyone to go watch it. Watch it without fast forwarding. And I don't have ADD. I don't have the like, oh god, I gotta, Well, but I'm saying, like, I can watch long shit.
I'm not gonna go back and watch.
That's boring as fuck.
Just hearing you suggest it is boring. All right, Jeffrey Todd's Jeffrey Todd in the chat says wrestling rules, and wrestling does rule. I don't know if you've been with us the whole show, Jeffrey Todd, but right now we were doing Tom's almost mid-year awards, talking about pro wrestling, the best things that happened this almost half a year.
Almost half of the year, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
That's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah. And everyone's thinking about it. So I just got there first.
Brian J's also in the chat, and he says, baby!
There
We've
it is.
got some. We're going to hear more from Brian J. and Tweet the Tables when we talk about AEW Dynamite. Stay tuned.
Brian, let's hear your name again later in the show.
Yeah,
so let's get into.
Then he says
'cause we're
agreed,
going
Tom, but I don't know what he agreed to because again we have about a 60-second delay between the chat.
Necessarily, you're
I'm
always
sure
right.
he was right. Yeah, I'm sure he's probably right.
Yeah. All right, so we're going a little long, so let's kind of speed through the rest of this show because we don't want to keep it too long. Let's get into our AEW.
Oh no,
Dynamite
I don't got any friends.
review.
I need people to hang out with all night. You guys are.
Well, game one of
Tom,
the
we're-
NBA Finals.
All right, well, pull it up. Let's watch it. Huh? Let's go.
Nuggets Heat, the most boring basketball
We
game
will
of the year.
commentate. You don't even have to. Yeah. Right.
Look at this loaf of bread shoot a three. Anyhow, it's AEW Dynamite recap, and we are going to touch on a little bit of the Double or Nothing as well, but we're not going to do both of it because that would be droning. So let's start off with Dynamite. Again, we'll kind of go back and forth between this and Double or Nothing. But Dynamite kicks off with the Blackpool Combat Club versus Lucha Bros and Bandito. Tim, Bandito, Spanish for bandit.
I've heard that before. I've heard that before.
Rosetta Stone, bitches. What's up?
You're not doing
So,
this.
man,
Yeah.
everyone does Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what they've stopped. They've stopped public education to just give you Rosetta Stone instead of going to a Spanish class. You
Right.
just get
Yeah.
a CD.
Yeah. For the people who don't have rich parents, go to private school. You just, you know what I mean? Online.
Get a
YouTube
CD
it.
and get the fuck on.
YouTube
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So, Blackpool Combat Club coming off of a hellacious match at Double or Nothing
Ooh,
against the Elite in Anarchy in the Arena. So, before
There's
we
an
get into this
exploding
match,
shoe.
let's talk about that. What did you think of Anarchy in the Arena?
Fine, right? For what Anarchy in the Arena is supposed to be, it delivered. I thought it was fine. I worry about these types of match every time we go in because when you try to make it happen, sometimes it feels like you're trying to make it happen. I didn't necessarily get that feel here, though, so I felt fine with this, but I also am not coming away with, like, you've got to see this Anarchy in the Arena match. Didn't feel any greater or even worse than the one we got before.
So, Tim, I'm going to tell you my thoughts. I think all 8 of these men fucking delivered. I'm going to also
right.
tell you, as I've told you for the last 2 years of a 4-year promotion, that the only new hires for AEW needs to be behind the camera and not in front of it. This match was only passable as far as, like, I'm not going to watch it again, like I'm going to pass. That's how I mean passable. Because of the production. I think if you would have dug a little bit deeper into Claudio and Matt Jackson in the back of that pickup truck, or if you would have dug a little bit into Hangman, I think it was, throwing Bryan Danielson down the guardrail face first into a super kick from one of the Young Bucks, you would have had more fun. But everything was 2 to 3 seconds off if it didn't happen in the ring. It was, oh, hey, we almost missed that. Oh, hey, but you almost got that. And it's like, it would be cooler if you fucking men and women behind the camera knew what was going to happen and could just go to it.
It's especially bothersome for this example that you're talking about here with this kind of match, because I'll hear you if you're going to say, hey, listen, we're still figuring out this production thing. They didn't work out that they were going to do that spot. We didn't know what was going on. But this match is all of those kind of spots. They had to work out all of these things. They knew when they're going to go backstage into, fill in the blank, area of the building. They're going to do this spot here. They may even have to set up a special stunt coordinator for one of them. There's no reason you should miss those shots in that match.
Right. Exactly. And that's where, and the other thing that I'm going to be a little bit more of a hard ass on than other companies' promotions that are 4 years in is it's not from a lack of funding that they couldn't get the right people there.
You're right.
You know what I mean? It's not a
this ain't
Impact
GCW.
Wrestling. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, these aren't those little companies
This
that are
isn't Central
little
States
engines
Wrestling.
Yeah, this is a billionaire with billionaire budgets that can get the right people, and they're either choosing not to because they're too loyal to people who can't do the job, or Maybe there is only one guy that can do it, and he's over in WWE. Well, I don't know what the answer is, but we got to figure that out.
I mean, look, the high quality, sinus cleanser keeps coming through. I'm sure that doesn't miss a quality step. So why is the production missing a step? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Sinus cleanser.
Everyone has sinuses. It's that time of the year.
Yeah. You got to clean them out. Otherwise, it gets stuffed up.
So let's get to the end of the match here. Obviously, we could talk about all the different spots. As you mentioned, I think the spot of the night was the exploding shoe.
Which Brian J. says Anarchy in the Arena was good, but the exploding shoe wasn't needed, in my opinion. They didn't need it to go over, and perhaps.
I mean, but what else would you talk about if that didn't happen?
Makes for a cool YouTube clip too, right?
Yeah. It makes them go viral in an age where the currency is attention. So that's why I would argue for it. But again, yes, it wasn't going to be something that you're going to.
Attention is a great episode title. I think
that's what it is.
Write that down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. So let's get to the end here. We have Yuta and Kenny Omega fighting in the middle of the ring. Don Callis, that piece of shit, he gets in the ring. And Kenny Omega throws Yuta to the side, and he turns his attention to Don Callis. And then from out of nowhere, waboom! Takeshita sloppily hits a knee, which I think he tripped on Don Callis a little bit because maybe Don went the wrong way, which again, you can't get take twos. I'm not trying to be that much of an asshole with that. But goes into Kenny Omega with that knee. And then Yuta gets the pin on Kenny Omega. So what did you think about Blackpool Combat Club winning, the Elite losing, Takeshita and Don Callis, the whole fallout?
I, at the time, thought, okay, we expected this. We knew this whole Don Callis is going to lead Takeshita. I think we all kind of envisioned this is where we're going. This is what we're going to do. And it happened. And I was like, all right, this is where we're going to go. I'm not up or down either way. Until we got to Dynamite.
Yes, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
So let's get to then this match. Again, it was the Blackpool Combat Club consisting of Claudio, John Moxley, and Yuta taking on Lucha Bros and Bandito. Again, that's Spanish for bandit. And they brought it. That is incredible that Blackpool Combat Club can go through that hellacious of a match with that many crazy spots and things to think of and trauma to the body, and then do that shit again on Wednesday.
I mean, yeah, it's almost like trying to do a podcast every week.
Shit, man, it's hard.
Yeah.
Here's the spot of the night for me with this match was the 1 minute suplex from Bandito on Yuta.
It was way more than a minute too, wasn't it? I mean, that thing was.
Yeah, but like he was arching the back, he was flexing the abs, he was doing everything.
Both guys were really, they really got their money's worth today. But they got an extra hot dog and 2 handshakes.
Yeah, it was crazy. So Blackpool Combat Club wins this match. They again solidify themselves as the top faction in AEW. No harm to Lucha Bros or Bandito. They're going to be fine. As mentioned, the Lucha Bros are the tag team champions over there in Ring of Honor, so they can do some feuds over there. Bandito kind of just goes wherever he's needed, whether it's with Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends or with Lucha Bros. Bandit. He just kind of goes where he needs. Yeah, the Bandit. Bandito. Post-match, though, we go backstage, and Alex Marvez, that sack of yogurt, he is talking to the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page. And Matt says, a long time ago, we said we were going to be the best, and so it's time to be the best. And then, he says, this guy, Hangman, I said a long time ago, brings out the best of us. Well, I guess the Blackpool Combat Club, they just bring out the worst of us. Let me try to walk on my foot. Nope, can't do it. Motherfucking Yuta went through hell, and he's fucking wrestled the match, but regardless, the Young Bucks are the best. Then they go to Hangman, but before Hangman could even talk, the Dark Order walk up and like, oh, hey, passive aggressively, fuck you. Right? Like,
that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Yo, that is exactly what they did. So they were like, oh, hey, sorry. Oh, we didn't see you with your new friends, right? Like Johnny Hungy was really laying it heavy. They're like, we're sorry, we'll get out of here. And you can tell that tugged at the heart of Hangman, right? Like he wanted to go to them. He wanted to make it right.
So the two things that I thought of with this promo, one, the Dark Order's correct. I love Hangman, and Hangman has came to the defense of the Dark Order when they were feuding with the Elite and that whole thing. I'm not trying to say that Hangman has always been the dickhead, but Hangman said no to him when they asked him to join the Dark Order. Hangman, when he came back, started hanging out with the Elite and then just saying, oh, Dark Order will get to you. After Hangman loses the match with Dark Order against the Elite, he then just goes straight to the Young Bucks. He's kind of a dickhead to the Dark Order.
This is one of the beauties of the Hangman character in that, not only is it the self-esteem storyline that we've witnessed play out, but also this thing of Hangman can sometimes be a well-intentioned kind of dickhead, right? Like, he means well. He's a good guy. He's not like trying to fuck anybody over, but he's inattentive in a relationship, right? But he's, you know what I mean? He's an alcoholic and he's got his own problems he needs to work out, right? So he's not a good friend.
Well, I sent you a tweet that I think summed it up perfectly. Hangman is the guy that made the varsity football team, but still wants to play Dungeons and Dragons instead of going to practice. So he's screwing one set of friends over.
Right.
But you can't, you either go to practice or you play the
I even think a little deeper of like, I think we've all been in these moments where we're like, we played the villain to somebody, even though we didn't really mean to. We didn't even necessarily do anything super wrong. Maybe we just didn't do anything good. You know what I mean?
No.
Yes, I know you've also done things that were bad and wrong. I've done all of those. I've done a lot of those.
You motherfuckers know who you are, and I'm
trying my best to not do anymore, but I'm really trying. But there's also the moments where you meant well. You were doing fine. Like, you didn't do anything nefarious. You just didn't do the right things, right?
Yeah. So then the second thing that I picked up from this promo is Marvis says,
tell me I'm a good person, Tom. I'm over here.
Yeah, sure.
Never mind.
So Marvis asks Hangman, hey, where's Kidney? We heard that he left the country. Is he back home in Canada? And Hangman, trying to leave the situation because, again, he wants to go talk to the Dark Order. He goes, he's not in the country, but he's not in Canada, which then leads to speculation that there's someone maybe in Japan.
Right.
Japan?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? He's in Japan.
Oh, I hope he's in Mexico. Wouldn't that just throw a fucking curveball? Like it's someone like
he's going to go to Germany and get Alex Wright.
Hell yeah!
If we brought back Sabu, we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
The pop. If Alex Wright comes out dancing in his leather jacket, we'd all go crazy.
Now, who will it be though? Will it be Ibushi or will it be Okada? Will it be Ibushi or will it be Okada?
That I don't know. I don't know enough of Japan wrestling history to give you a good answer there.
Well, we'll talk about that again here in just a little moment. So after that, we go back into the ring, and it's a really big promo night in Dynamite. But Tony Schiavone's in the ring, and he is with the insufferable Jay White and Rock Hard. The Rock is hard. Juice Robinson, which I'm starting to like just because of what I'm doing to him. I don't really like him anymore, but I like what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It allows you to do this.
The Rock is hard.
This is going to be your Mad Ox, right? This is going to be your I'm a Dinosaur.
Yeah, I'm a dinosaur. Man, that's the shit. That should actually happen. But yeah, the Rock is hard. So anyhow, Jay White, Juice Robinson, they're doing their bang bang. Look at the guns and the gold and the Austin Powers gold member, whatever the fuck they're talking about. And they're talking about FTR. And FTR is like, we don't play these fucking games, dog. What's up? Credit to Juice Robinson in this though, as they're going back and forth, and then Jay White's like, I think you want to join, don't you? Fucking Juice Robinson lays in a punch to bald FTR that I thought legitimately knocked him out.
Seriously, man. I thought he connected because he just he again did a Tom Brady hip swivel like he was getting ready to throw a 50-yard bomb on this guy. Just fucking cocked him one.
And
led with the shoulder. You know what I mean? Like he really got in there.
And the coins like coming out of his hand also added to the like realness of the punch. Whether it was a work punch or a real punch, it fucking looked as real as it gets. So credit to him for at least doing a good working punch to FTR Bald there.
Brian J. Bebe in the chat here on YouTube Live says, I never liked the rock hard thing until Tom started putting it over.
The rock is hard.
I know, now I want it.
Rock hard.
Speaking of Brian J. Bebe and this scenario here, we've got a tweet the table from Brian J. Bebe, and he says, oh shit, are we going to get Bald FTR and Hairy FTR versus the Butter Knife Jay White and Rock Hard Caveman? Hashtag tweet the table.
And I said, is a rock hard? That's what I replied with. Is a rock hard?
It's a rock hard.
So it ends this segment with Ricky Starks, the coolest man of all 5 of them, said, Jay White, you piece of shit. Next week, these guys aren't allowed, and that fucking caveman ain't allowed. It's me and you. We're going to fight. And Jay White's like, okay. You know,
hey, bitch.
whatever
Yeah,
Jay
fine,
White
whatever.
does.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get that match next week. So
There we go.
after that,
Yeah.
we come back and we get a major announcement, Tim. Stop the presses. Major announcement. No blinking allowed.
Well,
Tony Khan.
Well, Brian J. also mentioned that announcement in the tweet the table.
Oh, let's get to it then.
He said, Tony Khan, again, as you're about to mention, is here to make a big announcement, which is a theme, is a thing we've been seeing on AEW Dynamite lately. And Brian J. says, Tony Khan's big announcement for Collision. Everyone gets a muffin. Hashtag tweet the table.
I don't want to necessarily do a deep dive tonight because we have enough time until June 17th. But as mentioned, the big announcements, credit to him in this regard for this one specifically. He didn't say it's a major announcement. He just says he has an announcement.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, he didn't say this is the biggest announcement in AEW history.
Yeah, you got to tune in tonight because of an announcement from Tony Khan. They did no press for it or anything like that. So credit to him for at least backing off a little bit. But what the announcement was is that June 17th for the debut episode of AEW Collision from the United Center, because tickets are low, we're announcing CM Punk. That's the whole reason we did this. That's the whole reason, is because he's like, hey, do they not know he's going to be here? Fuck, we might as well just say, hey, CM Punk's going to be here. And now we can put his name on the poster and hopefully more tickets go.
So, I guess let's dig a little bit into this. How do you think this Collision thing is going to go?
This is what I don't want to have happen. A complete copy of when he came back on Rampage.
Oh, sure.
Don't do the crowds chanting, we're getting them all hyped, and the music hits, because that moment's past. Not to say that some people don't feel that way, because there definitely are, and to each their own. But you got to do something more creative than that this time around.
Yeah.
That's the only challenge I have to AEW creative, whoever is in charge of this, is it can't just be, I'm back again, because look, even if you love them, you're kind of going to say that's lame. So you got to have some diversion, right? Play his music, MJF walks out. Then CM Punk comes out to confront him or something like that. You know what I mean?
So even the CM Punk thing aside, Collision as a whole, how do you think this goes? Is this a success when we're looking back in a couple of years?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, he's an idiot, but he does make a good statement in his book title, Controversy Creates Cash. Eric Bischoff was on to something where if you hate it or you like it, at least we're going to have you talk about it. And as I mentioned earlier, currency is attention. Eyeballs is what everyone's fighting for. And if whether it's good or bad, if CM Punk is a trending topic on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, that's a good thing. And so whether he comes out and it's mixed reactions, that's not important.
Okay. But let's say, so CM Punk, again, aside, let's say the CM Punk thing is here 3 months, CM Punk gets injured, we don't hear from him again in a month. Like, is Collision a success in several years? Is it hinge on CM Punk? Does it hinge on controversy? Do they have to manufacture controversy in a couple months?
I think so. Here's why. Friday night, you can almost get by because even though it's a night that people do things, there's not a lot of competition, right? Coming up in a couple months, every Saturday night, Tim, you're probably going to be watching it. We got college football. We got USC versus UCLA or whoever the fuck the good teams are now, right? Georgia versus Georgia State. I don't know if they're good, but one of those fucking teams, right?
I never thought about a Saturday night. What time a night? It's like
7 o'clock.
Yeah,
and here's the other thing.
Big time games on.
So big time games, and that's coming up. That's your major competition. But what your competition is every month, once a month, is the UFC. The UFC train is not stopping. They're going to keep it going. Next month, they've got Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler for the BMF belt. You want to know what the BMF stands for? Bad motherfucker. That's going to be a hell of a fucking fight. Yeah. It's a BMF belt. They've done it once before. They did it with Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. Masvidal fucking wrecked Nate Diaz, which I'm still Team Diaz for life, but he got his ass kicked. But they're doing that fight. And this is the second time they fought. The first time they fought, it's an all-time classic. I would recommend if anyone wants to watch a fight, watch the first Poirier versus God, I just already forgot his name. Justin Gaethje fight. So they got that to come up with, right? That's next month. Then, as I mentioned, John Jones is coming back. Then you got Conor McGregor. Then you got, and that's all Saturday nights. And then let's add a little bit more to that. Let's say the third Saturday is the big John Jones fight. Well, the second Saturday, WWE is going to do a London pay-per-view on a Saturday night called Money in the Bank or whatever it is. Now you got to compete with that too. So Collision, you got to make something happen here besides Punk. Isn't Punk cool? Because, I mean, look, he can be, and he can do some stuff, but he's also 45, I think. And so, is he going to be around in 3 years?
I think he's 62.
You're still going to be on Saturdays? I mean, his body's probably 74, but they say he's 45. So, Saturday night kind of sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, even if I'm home on Saturday night, which I mean, I largely am. I'm an old ass man with a family, but like, usually I'm not just like, well, let me pull up a regular thing each Saturday night, right? There's like a movie involved with the family or just something, right? Like, so again, it feels like a show that, like, similar to Rampage, I'm going to catch on the DVR later if I think
unless it is something.
Right.
Unless it is something.
Now, even if it is something, I still feel like it's one of those where, like, maybe I watch that Sunday night on the DVR instead of Saturday night.
Tim, if I tell you CM Punk and FTR versus The Elite is Saturday night, you're going to watch that Sunday?
Probably.
That's the biggest match they can make.
I don't get
just
why.
because
I don't like the majority of the people in that match.
Well, neither do they. They don't like each other.
Yeah,
Isn't
exactly.
that fun?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So anyhow, yeah, that's a personal preference. But I'm saying whatever your biggest match is, Eddie Kingston versus Hangman or whatever it may
Jeffrey
be. You know
Todd here says, and this is a largely contested, discussed idea that we haven't discussed in the news because it's all rumors here, but are AEW doing a brand split like WWE?
Hell no. Hell no. They're going to try for a month and realize, hey, CM Punk does really well Saturdays at 7:30. Can he do really well Wednesdays at 7:30? Well, let's see. Hey, CM Punk's on Dynamite tonight because he's
Borrow
getting
a
eyeballs.
Superstar Weekly.
Yeah. Look, yeah. Is the brand split ever been a fucking thing over there in WWE?
Not really. The
Exactly.
first one. The very first one for a while.
Yeah. AJ Styles, I think, was on Monday night.
Even when they had the hardest brand split they ever had, the Universal Champion could go to either brand.
Well, the hardest one they did was when they awarded Triple H the World Championship because Brock Lesnar stayed on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then they didn't actually fucking touch or look at each other until I think it was like Shawn Michaels went over to SmackDown as a cameraman and super kicked Kurt Angle because they had something at the Royal Rumble. Remember that? That was the brand split.
Well, I remember I said Universal, but I think I meant Undisputed. But you know what I mean? Like when it was like, hey, we did the brand split. Brand is the split, except, there's one champion, so we can go to either brand.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, then what the fuck does this mean?
Honestly, if I were to consult with AEW, which I fucking should, because I'm how big my brain is.
Yeah.
Look how big my fucking brain
Yeah,
is.
he's got a fat brain.
Yeah, I gotta wear a big ass hat just to keep it in. They should have went to Tuesday nights. If you recall, back in the day when SmackDown got good again, they did Raw on Monday and SmackDown on Tuesday. Remember that? Remember when AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose were fighting over the World Championship, and you had James Ellsworth and all that fun
Tuesday
shit?
nights.
You know? Yeah. So do Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Hey, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. The character was great. By the way, side quest. We'll get back into Dynamite. Did you see what happened after Dynamite aired? Did you watch the program right after Dynamite aired?
No.
Oh, Tim, you should have. Rich and Shameless. It's this sports documentary series, which I won't even get into the sports aspect because you all probably know my opinion. We'll bypass that. They aired Gawker versus Hulk Hogan. And boy, was it captivating for all the wrong reasons. It was a trip. You should watch it. It's but again, I love Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan told me to eat my vitamins, say my prayers, and try as hard as I can. I don't give a fuck about Terry Bollea. So to your point about James Ellsworth, I don't know what the fuck that guy did when he wasn't on TV, but I kind of liked his no-chin ass when he was on SmackDown. So whatever that
Any man with two hands.
Any man with two hands, I'm going to get my ass kicked, you know? Didn't he beat AJ Styles?
Yes, I think so.
Dean Ambrose helped him?
He did.
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Jesus.
Good on
Christ.
AJ, right? Look at he's like,
yeah.
I'll put the kid over.
Yeah, who cares?
Oh, you
I'll
raped
do it,
kid?
yeah.
Oh, fuck, shit.
Well, yeah. Yeah, again, I don't know any of that
Allegedly.
shit.
Yeah.
Don't care. Don't know like these people. Don't want to know them. The best thing anyone can do, in my opinion, with
Definitely don't want to
entertainment-
know him. I've met a few. Don't want to know him.
Well, here's my words to live by with anything that you like. Know as little as possible about it.
Ignorance is bliss.
So much better. You'll be so much better if you like. There are so many fighters I like in the UFC who I couldn't even fucking tell you where they live because I don't want to know anything about them. I just want to watch them fight in the cage. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Don't know anything about them. Anyhow, let's get into the next matchup. It was a triple threat. Trent Beretta versus Big Bill, the backup singer to Juice Robinson, and the coolest man in professional wrestling, Swerve Strickland. Now, these three competed in the Blackjack Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing. You had Orange Cassidy retain his championship, but what did you think of the Battle Royal? Did you like it? Did you have fun?
Battle Royal was fine. I mean, it's slow to start, and then the ending. Who was the last one against Orange Cassidy? I'm forgetting here.
Swerve,
right.
Yeah.
That, like, from the start of them realizing it was the last two, that first little segment before they took their first, like, breather break while the crowd clapped was one of the best little segments I've seen in wrestling in a while.
And the elimination where he's like, I'm going to hit him. I'm going to hit him. I'll just kick his hands off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Trent Beretta is in this triple threat, and I'm curious to know, because they put him in this match and they showed the clip from the match, if we're going to get anything built off of Big Bill was going to kick Orange Cassidy off the apron, and Trent threw him to the side so that he could take the kick.
Yeah. Here's a storyline for you.
Okay.
Orange Cassidy finally loses the All-Atlantic International Championship.
International. Yep.
Trent Beretta, because he's starting to get, like, you know what I mean? The dissension happens there, and then we get the mega powers explode of the best friends.
So we teased this, if you remember, early on in his championship reign, where it was Trent saying, like, are you sure you want to fight me? And Orange Cassidy's like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. And he's like, all right then, motherfucker. You know, and Orange Cassidy kind of had to skate on the skin of his teeth there to get the victory. So maybe we'll see. But Swerve Strickland wins this match. I think all three guys look great. I said on Twitter at Table Show when I did a live tweet of it, this just shows you the depth of AEW's roster, because Swerve Strickland's starting to do something, right? But Big Bill and Trent Beretta are kind of doing nothing, but all three are over, right? They're all getting reactions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with this match, I started feeling, I was like, man, Dynamite's been a lot of these tonight. We've had a lot of these matches where again, if I'm watching, if I'm in the kayfabe, if I'm watching and this is a real fight, which again, we know it's not, but what do these matches mean? These feel like exhibition matches, right? These triple threat, like there's not a whole lot of storyline built into these matches, but the matches all delivered, right? Mm-hmm. As did this one.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt, it was like, all right, I get it. We just came off a pay-per-view.
And these three were in a match.
Hey, look what we're doing, right?
Yeah, and these three were in a match, and what was explained was like Big Bill was eliminated by, or Trent was eliminated by Big Bill.
Yeah,
Swerve Strickland was.
Yeah, I'm not saying they didn't. It just
nothing, but nothing crazy.
All night up until this point, I remember thinking, I was just kind of like, all right, this, we're happening tonight. Things are happening.
Well, to keep it going with things are happening and not much, the Acclaim come out. And they just say, Billy Gunn deserves a title, doesn't they?
Yeah, sure.
This guy, he's old. He's big. He's bigger than 98% of our roster. Everyone loves us.
Bigger than Big Bill.
Scissors. Yeah, Billy Gunn. See, this is, I've said it a million times. I don't want to say it again, but I'm going to. You can't Wardlow be the muscle guy when 53-year-old Billy Gunn's fucking bigger than you, man. Find something else. I digress. So yeah, there we're in. Schiavone is back in the ring, and this is where we get some fun. So we'll revisit it. So he's in the ring, and he's like, "This piece of shit." Again, I'm paraphrasing. This piece of shit's coming down in the ring, and it's with no music.
He said something. He was like, "I'm about to vomit in my mouth," calling this guy in the ring or something. Yeah, he really shit on him.
Don Callis and Takeshita come out. No music. The music is the booze.
Oh. Where were we again? What city were we in? I forget.
San Diego. Wales Vagina. Wales Vagina. That's what it's German for. That's what it means? Okay. Yeah, you didn't know that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, that's right. I heard that somewhere.
Yeah. Here's another great detail to the Don Callis character. I don't know who did the artwork, but did you see the painting of... You know what that is? That's a homage or whatever you want to call it, a parody of Ivan the Terrible when he killed his son. That's the exact, like the painting of Ivan the Terrible. Go look it up. When Ivan the Terrible is holding his son after he killed him, that's the same fucking pose that they got Don Callis with Kenny Omega. Fucking brilliant. Brilliant. I don't know why I always know that Ivan Terrible thing, but I do. So anyhow, whatever. Stupid things in my head. It's so big. Like I said, so big.
Right, yeah, big brain.
Big brain here. So let's get into what Don Callis says, if you could hear it. He says,
crowd, first of all, thunderous, destroying everything. And Don Callis just knowing how to work with it, right? Like knowing you got to say something. You got to talk over the boos, but you say something quick and let them boo worse. And just killed it. Just destroyed it.
And honestly, you know, how to say this? He has more time in the ring, and he's done this double the amount of the person I'm going to compare him to. But like, this is how you do it, not with Dominic in WWE. Dominic gets just as bad as the boos, but he does the like, hey, oh yeah. Like he kind of waits for it a little bit, like and then they give it to him. They do give it to him. Not going to say that they don't, but he does a little bit of like, I'm just going to say one word and then expect you guys to boo, you know?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. It becomes, with Dominic, it's more of like, he knows it's the game. Whereas like Don Callis is still kind of leading the conversation and just making you boo more. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Now, other side quests I want to get into before we get into the meat and potatoes of what he says here. I'm going to do a quick side quest. I think I've been seeing this on our YouTube stream as well. Go to a one shot of me, a one shot, as I like to say, of just me. I just want to make sure that I'm seeing this correctly. Yeah. Okay. This is the only time right here that I like crowd shots. This is the T-Mac rant of the week. Stop live events. This is bigger than pro wrestling. This is football, basketball, baseball. Stop showing me the fucking crowd. Because guess what I'm doing? The same fucking thing that they're doing. Why do I, when I'm surprised, need to see fans who are surprised? Why, when I'm cheering because Hangman won the world title, do I need to see fans cheering? It's the worst fucking thing in in wrestling specifically, but in all of it. Like, I never want to see in a big fourth down between the Bills and Bengals, which fuck both those teams, one of their fan bases going like, hey guys, we're making, fuck off. I want to see the action. Like, you know, we had this whole Usos thing at Night of Champions where they kick Roman Reigns in the head and all that stuff. Someone counted it. I did not, so I'm taking their word for it on Twitter. There were 31 different cuts in that one fucking action that took place. And this is where, like, sometimes, especially for AEW, who has a very lesser than production crew than WWE, just put it in the ring. Just put the fucking camera on the ring, and that's all you need. 98% of the time, unless you need a zoom in shot of a wrestler, that's it. Like Chris Statlander, which we'll get to in a moment, she did sign language when she came out and won the title from Jade Cargill. We missed it because we were looking at a fucking fan. Then after she won the TBS championship, which we'll get to her match against Nyla Rose, she sign languaged, I am the TBS champion. And they cut to the crowd in the middle of BNS when she was sign languaging it. Because you don't fucking have any patience. Just put the goddamn fucking camera on the ring. It's so fucking maddening. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Don Callis.
I get when they say, like, we need movement. But, like, she's moving.
She's doing
Not
it.
To crudely do hand gestures. But, like, right, yeah.
Yeah, she's doing the thank you or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, I cannot stand it with this. Again, I don't know another way to say it, so I'm not trying to be insensitive to anyone who suffers from it. But, like, this ADD television, just the people will do it, especially in wrestling. They're going to kick and hit each other a lot. So, like, just show that. That's all you got to fucking do in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So, Don Callis, what'd you think of the promo outside of the booze? Did you like
fine. I like the whole deliverance. It was like, hey, listen, like, you know what I mean? I did, like, you know, we talk a lot about Kenny Omega, but it's been me, right, driving it. Like, I mean, it fits. It's wonderful. Again, we've talked about this before. You've got some great talkers that are not wrestlers. Make them managers. I suddenly care about seeing Takeshita get his ass kicked. Mm-hmm. When before I couldn't give two shits about him.
Right. So, couple things here. One that was confusing was earlier in the night when Bryan Danielson was on commentary during the Blackpool Combat Club, Taz and Excalibur were like, hey, so that Don Callis and Takeshita, they with Blackpool Combat Club? And Danielson's like, man, I'll let him talk. He's talking later. I'll let him talk. But then we get here, and Don Callis talks about how he did everything for Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega wanted to play with his friends, the Elite. That was stupid. So I found a new son, Takeshita. And Takeshita's better than Okada. And then one good piece of camera work they did is as soon as he said that, they went to the Forbidden Door poster behind his shoulder.
That might be your answer from earlier.
Yeah. But they never addressed, like, Tony Schiavone didn't just outright say, hey, you piece of shit, are you in the Blackpool Combat Club? Like, it was never addressed by Don Callis at all during this promo.
I don't want them to be in the Blackpool Combat Club, but yeah, they should address it at some point.
The one of the coolest things going back to the Anarchy in the Arena match that I liked is when Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, realizing that they were the only two in the ring and all of the members of Blackpool Combat Club surrounded them, and they just looked at each other and like, motherfuckers, were going down swinging. And that thing is what I want the Elite to feel with the Blackpool Combat Club coming from the right and Don Callis and his gang of, you know, whatever you want to call them coming from the left. Yeah, they're coming from the left. And then you got CM Punk and FTR trying to take what they have from this side. And they're like, what the fuck do we do? Like, I want that for the Elite because I think that's the best story that they could tell.
I like that. That's solid. Hire Tom.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm fucking done. No. All right. Then we get back into the ring. Oh, we get Wardlow. He challenges Luchasaurus. Neat. I will say, Wardlow, there's not a lot for him to offer, but he offered every fucking thing he had at Double or Nothing.
He threw himself around.
Yeah, he broke his shin, it looked like, jumping from the ring onto the ladder. He did the Jeff Hardy spot, which again, if you can do it, maybe don't do the muscle gimmick. On to Luchasaurus. And so he challenges Luchasaurus. We'll see what happens there. We get back in the ring, and it's the Gates of Agony, who fucking look like action figures. God bless America.
They are cut. They haven't had
They
a
are
carb in
impressive.
months.
Well, one of them has, but the other one hasn't. But the one that hasn't looks thick. He's a thick boy. Right. You know what I mean? Looks like a thick cut of bacon. They are taking on Darby Allin. Yeah, whatever. Darby Allin. They're not all home runs, okay? Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. And Brian Cage and Swerve Strickland come down to watch the match. So, long story short, Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy get the victory. Swerve Strickland, though, looks like he's going to continue this feud against Orange Cassidy, which we then next week will get for the International Championship. Swerve Strickland versus Orange Cassidy. So I first will ask you, we getting a new champ? Swerve?
Maybe. I wouldn't mind. I would like it.
They've told the story that Orange Cassidy is running on fumes defending this title. So him losing wouldn't be like he's fresh for the last 60 days he hasn't wrestled. He's coming in at 100%. So it wouldn't look the worse for him. And then,
especially if we get Swerve and his gang of folks to do something nefarious and really harm Orange Cassidy to the point where we're like, geez, man.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
The other thing that you may run into, which I hope you don't, is I do think Swerve as the, well, if you're going to get to me, you got to get through all these fucking guys. And it's Brian Cage and the Gates of, you know what I mean? That's cool. But that's kind of what MJF does through other means. But you got to jump through the hoops before you get the title shot. So if Swerve does get the title match or the title, I hope it's not the same playbook. I hope it's not the same. Oh, well, guess what? You got to get through Brian Cage and Gates of Agony in a 3-on-1 match. Then you get my title shot. It's like, nah, man, come on now. We don't need to be doing that. But Swerve with gold is always good in my book.
Always.
All right. And then what do we got here? MJF cuts a promo, said he's tired. There's no competition for him. Motherfucker, you just wait for Eddie Kingston, bitch. Anyhow.
Who is going to be the one to answer this? Because I imagine that's what we'll get next week, right? And then who's going to be the one to be MJF's next?
Who should it be? I don't know. Who I want it to be? I don't know of his timeline, but it's Eddie Kingston. CM Punk.
Great.
That's what I think. I think they're going to say.
Super excited about that. Yay.
Well, but again, peeking behind the curtain, you got 6 months top with CM Punk before he finds something else to get angry about. So let's get this fucking money match in.
Or he rips a tendon in his elbow, something weird where he can't,
Yeah.
It's never like a major injury. It's just like a weird one that is like, oh, it was his left pinky.
They broke his foot jumping into the crowd. Has that ever happened? Nope, he's the first? Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Drop the title. Yeah. What the fuck? But yeah, he cuts a promo. I don't know who will be next. If he wasn't injured, I would say let's go with Eddie Kingston right now.
Yeah.
Other options, if you wanted to kind of shotgun this pretty quick, wouldn't hate it if it was Hangman. Wouldn't hate it if it was Hangman. True. Versus MJF.
Who else is a main event? Like if you had to main eventers, mid carders, undercarders, like who's in the main event column in AEW? Hangman, CM Punk, Moxley, MJF,
Danielson. We already did Danielson,
but we feel we've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Omega.
Again, Omega might be cool. I don't know if you would say he's currently right now a main eventer, but I think Ring of Honor got all of their monthly buys that you can get out of them. I would put Samoa Joe
Yeah, because I
Samoa
feel like,
Joe.
you know,
and
so you
MJF?
start looking sometimes at like, well, who's coming up? And so you think your name's like you're Ricky Starks, but they just did that with this Pillars thing, right? We just did the Jungle Boy, the Darby, Sammy. So that feels like now you got to get somebody who's like, no, this is established main eventer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a whole lot. A whole lot.
Let's
Who
take
did
a
they
look
get?
here.
Ooh,
Oh,
be nice if we could get a Miro back.
yeah, but Miro's feuding with God, which is the coolest thing in the world. So I don't know if I want to end that. You know who we're getting. You know who we're. God damn it! You know who we're getting.
Jeff Jarrett.
You son of a bitch. No, I'll put a pin in it and we'll get to it later. Foreshadowing.
I think I know who.
So then we go back into the ring, and Tony Schiavone is in the ring, and he gets interrupted by Hook. And then Hook, before he can say anything, gets interrupted by LFI. And they start to attack Hook. And here comes the man with the second best head of hair in pro wrestling, Jungle Boy. Hook has the best head of hair.
Hook is the best.
So yeah, man, come on, Tim, keep up.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm losing mine.
Yeah, you're right.
And so we're getting Jungle Hook again. What do you think about that?
Boy and his Hook.
Boy and his Hook.
Yeah, man, it looks like we're getting Darby and Hook, or Darby and Jungle Boy were tag teaming, but now also.
Well, Darby and Jungle Boy were only tag teaming because it was a force, because it was the four thing.
Okay.
This is like a genuine friendship, you know.
I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like we've done this a lot with Hook. Hook is the big show of the times, right? Where he's in a tag team with somebody at all times.
Well, this is where I think we need to pull the trigger. I think we say, Hook don't need no fucking Jungle Boy, and he suplexed the shit out of Jungle Boy. And then Jungle Boy says, oh, my name is Jack Perry, bitch. And then we get a little bit more, kind of like what we did with Christian, but a little bit more of like, we're peers fighting for the same thing. Meanness out of him. Or do it the opposite way. Have Jungle Boy say like, why the fuck does everyone like this guy? He's yet to say a word. I cut better promos than him, and I suck.
That's saying something. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. You know, something like that. That's what I would want, but we'll see. Let's keep it moving here. We go to the TBS championship match. As mentioned, our new champion, Chris Statlander, who defeated Jade Cargill. She went 60-0 and then lost her first match to Chris Statlander after defeating Tay Valkyrie. What did you make of that whole scene?
I think they did that really well. We've talked a lot about how are we going to get this off Jade Cargill. I think that fits very well. Just finished a match. Lawyers out there talking shit. Writes a check that her ass can't cash because the returning, honestly, sizable, right, person that could take her on is now just a little too much to handle because you just had a match. You lose. But that's a quick, easy way to be like, I don't even give a shit anymore. I'd already fucking beat everybody anyway. I already beat her before. She had to surprise me. Who gives a shit? I don't even care about that title back anymore. You know, if we run into each other, it's on, but I'm not chasing you down. I'm going after this title. Right? On to the World Heavyweight title. Yep.
I think the thing now, usually when people lose like that, they go away and then we get a surprise return, and usually it's babyface. I wouldn't do that. Here. But I wouldn't do that. I'd keep Jade heel. I personally, because I think the feud that she currently has is going to go a little bit longer with the Outcasts, but I'd have her say, Britt Baker, you got everything I'm fighting for, bitch. Me and you next week. And it's her and Britt Baker, who isn't the champion, but you're still getting a top level talent to get your feet wet into that main event scene for the women's division.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
No, I think it's good. Yeah.
One thing to note here, Chris Statlander defeats Nyla Rose, but one thing to note is Tay Valkyrie is backstage watching, and commentary says like she looks pissed, and maybe she's mad that she did all the work and then Statlander got the results that she should have got, one of those kind of things. So maybe that hodgepodge of a character, Taya Valkyrie, does a heel turn. I don't know. I am so uninterested in Taya Valkyrie for this reason alone. She is not a bad wrestler. I think her wrestling is very, very good, especially in a shallow AEW women's division. And that's not a slight. They're just a lot of young talent like Anna Jade, Jade Cargill, so on and so forth. I don't like that. I don't know what the fuck she is. She's Valkyrie, but there's no like Viking stuff except for her boots.
You said best when you said she gives off the I go to clubs with my daughter vibes.
Yeah. That's her. Maybe that's the vibe she gives off. But the character is Valkyrie. But boots. But then I dance like Naomi, right? So I'm like the white Naomi. But then, I'm a little bit more vicious. But I still like to dance. But then, maybe I go to the club with my daughter. And it's just like, what the fuck is this? I don't know what I'm watching. I'm not interested in any of it. It's stupid. Put her, fuck yeah, Tim. God damn, my brain is so fucking big. Put her as the fucking valet roadie, like, what do they call him in rock and roll music?
Got the big brain on Tom over here.
Got the fucking big brain. I can't even think of this word. What do they call the women that follow all the musicians around?
Groupies.
Groupies. That's the thing I'm looking for. Make her the groupie of fucking rock hard Juice Robinson and backup singer Big Bill. The rock is hard. And she's like, yeah, the rock is hard.
He's over there shredding Big Bill's over there on a bass.
Yeah. That's all he says is yeah. And he just.
She's over there doing the Kelly ECW reboot strip dance. Right? That was Kelly, right? That was fucking.
And she danced like an inflatable. Remember those fucking inflatables in front of car washes?
Yes, exactly. She was just wiggling up there. They're like, ECW's back.
Yeah.
Look who got a brick wall and a chain link fence.
Yeah. There's a vampire.
It's grungy.
The rock is hard. That should have been their thing. It would have saved it. It would have saved the whole fucking promotion.
Yeah, Big Show could have still been the ECW champion today.
Yeah, still to this day. Who would have? Oh, man. Missed opportunity. All right. Speaking of someone who looks like an aging rock star, we get to our main event. Chris Jericho, who is an aging rock star, and Saraya take on Britt Baker. And this is who I think will challenge MJF next.
Yeah.
Adam Cole, baby. And this was fun, right?
Yeah,
fun.
Well, we've got two tweet the tables about this. One first comes from Katie First Lady, who says, oops, wrong one. She says, I feel like anyone who's ever had a feud with Jericho in the last few months has not come off better in the end. Hashtag tweet the table. And Brian J says, Adam Cole is definitely stuck in the Jericho portal. Hashtag tweet the table.
I would argue on paper, Ricky Starks did, but it's not good in execution. If I were to tell you the hottest free agent that both WWE and AEW wanted, Jay White, comes to AEW and his first feud is with Ricky Starks, on paper, you would say like, fuck yeah, that's great for Ricky. In practice, sucked. But that's not his fault. It's because these guys are fucking dweebs. But yeah, more times than not, you come off. Look at Action Andretti. That motherfucker, where's he been at? What's he doing?
Thankfully not around.
But I mean, he was going to be something.
No, he
right?
wasn't. Yeah.
Well, someone wanted him to be, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not good. Not good. So yeah, I thought they flirted with, in this match, if you noticed, a lot of women beat up the men, right? Britt Baker puts Jericho in the lockjaw. I think at one time Saraya kicked Adam Cole, if my memory serves me correct. And in the video game, which comes out June 29th, pre-order now, I did. You can do intergender matches. Tim, are we going that way?
Maybe we are. Maybe we're not. I don't know how TBS and Warner Brothers Discovery addresses that.
Nope. That's my vote. Nope. There you go. But Britt Baker and Adam Cole win, baby. And so that's 2 victories in back-to-back showings for Adam Cole. Do we think Adam Cole is done with Jericho?
I would hope so, and it makes sense, as you said, if we move him on to be the next MJF, because we haven't got that. And I feel like when we tried to shuffle the deck, we've gotten every combo we can do, right? When we were going through the list of who could MJF face. Oops, right? We've done it all. Adam Cole on to the next, and I wouldn't hate it if anytime somebody's feuding with Jericho these days, I wouldn't hate it if they moved on from it. As weird as that sounds, I put Jericho in the top 10 of all time.
I wouldn't, but yes.
But
I wouldn't argue with you, but
right.
I wouldn't. But
yeah,
yes.
I mean, if I really sat down, somewhere hovering in there, right? He's a top 10 talent. His influence on this industry is amazing. But, you know, I feel like it's the same thing for the last 9 times.
I've said this multiple times, and I think you have too. He should have retired with the MJF feud. After the
30 years of Jericho and the whole, should have been.
Go to commentary.
Then you could have been a manager. Then you could have been commentating. Then you could have been a whatever, right? We could still put you on TV. But this idea that I think you're going to be in there and feuding with folks and I just don't, man, I think a guy like Jericho has to take a long look at yes, you're everything I said you were, right? You're a top 10 talent. You might be on people's Rushmores. You have done storylines that people never would have thought of. But you're not doing something in this ring that's going to put somebody over to the point that they're the next big star and you're helping the industry moving forward on your way out or anything any more than you've already done. Where you might be able to do that is a manager for a Takeshita or, the GM for that somebody's fighting for whatever, right? Your annoyance and your mic skills are still probably as great as they've ever been. But we've got to get done with this idea that you're an active competitor that I think people are fighting.
Yeah. I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. One other idea, if you don't want to go with Adam Cole, because Adam Cole feuded with Hangman, and that wasn't that long ago. So maybe you say, maybe not. I don't know if I'd do it at a pay-per-view, but a Summer Beach, whatever they call their summer event, that they do on
Road Rager.
TBS. Road Rager, yeah. What if Swerve wins the International Championship? We have Orange Cassidy just take a break for a couple weeks. MJF's just cutting promos, being the best ever. And then Orange Cassidy's like, hey, I want the title now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be fine. I think that would be good, but I wouldn't want a long-term story.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. For the Road Rager, you do a 3-week thing where Orange Cassidy says this, MJF gets mad that he's a lazy shit and he's getting over because these fans are dumb. Then we do the match. There you go. Maybe that's the quick next thing.
No, I mean, I think the clear answer is Jeff Jarrett. So,
God damn it. I proposed a special episode where we do something together for our listeners and fans. If we do, this is going upside your head. You're just
like, next time I see this guy, it's on site.
I'm gonna fucking hit him.
You mentioned Jeff Jarrett 7 times. We got 6 more hits.
Yeah,
Jeff Jarrett.
All right, so from Double or Nothing, what did we miss? We had FTR defeat Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal with.
Here. We've got to tweet the table.
Okay.
Katie, the First Lady, says, talking about Jamie Hayter, she says, this run should have been better. And had she not been in the shadow of Britt, she was the champion and still playing second fiddle. Hashtag AEW Double or Nothing. So, yeah, we've got, Toni Storm is the new AEW Women's Champion, right? She beat Jamie Hayter. And we all wanted Hayter to win this at the moment. Hayter was on fire. We think they were
apparently
a little late on the draw,
injury.
maybe. Right?
Yeah,
and it's a real injury.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would say she did bad. I don't think anybody would say we got the whole, we want this. And then when we got it, we went, it was fine. She did just fine.
I think we wanted more. And the matches that she did give us, especially that fucking main event match against Hikaru Shida, that's one of the best AEW women's matches they've had all time. It was amazing. And I would argue, even though Britt Baker is Britt Baker, goddamn, if she didn't try her fucking best to say, this girl right here, Jamie Hayter, is the fucking one.
We never made this about Britt Baker, ever.
Yeah.
Even though
we
the whole...
did.
Yeah,
You
we
know what
all
I
did
mean?
from the moment Jamie Hayter stepped on the scene, right? Before we even
Yeah.
thought about her as a world title contender, when she was first brought in as the Diesel, we were like, oh, well, this is going to be...
Yeah.
Right.
We did this. They did not. They just kept saying Britt Baker is supporting Jamie Hayter at every step of the way. So I think we kind of did that more than AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the moment of the night, Tim, the moment of the entire night, it wasn't Anarchy in the Arena. It wasn't MJF and the other pillars. Statlander coming back, all of that stuff, great, but it wasn't the moment of the night. It wasn't even Max Caster's rap on the House of Black doing blackface, all that stuff. It wasn't even that fucking lead singer actually in blackface fucking singing that song, which was really fucking weird. I don't know who signed off on that. The moment of the night, begrudgingly, that made me laugh and hoot and holler for a solid 2 minutes was the goddamn guitar shot from Karen Jarrett on Aubrey Edwards.
Yeah, that one really took me for a loop. I was like, holy shit, because they had just done. Right, so you didn't expect this coming. And just
so
for all the shit talking we do on like, hey, they missed these shots. They nailed that shot. Somebody coordinated that one to a T and got that one to just whap, or the broken clock is right twice a day, but we got that shot great. Yeah.
Aubrey acted like she got shot.
Poor Aubrey probably took 2 years off her life with that fucking shot. I hope they paid her well. She got a nice bonus for that one, I hope.
Oh my God. And credit to Karen Jarrett taking out all of her anger from her marriage from Kurt Angle and fucking throwing that.
She swung that thing like she was sledgehammering a fucking post into the ground. Just like Aubrey fucking smiled at her husband and catering too much. She fucking hammered her.
Oh man, Karen Jarrett was going through those divorce proceedings with Kurt Angle and said, "This anger's coming out on Aubrey."
I like that your name starts with an A, like Angle.
Angle, you bitch.
Hey, that's acting 101, right? Get in, however you get there, right? Like,
Just
put yourself
there,
in that moment. Yeah. All right.
Oh God.
Well, speaking of get there, I think that might be all we've got. We'll let you get, unless you've got more stuff to go over.
Well, the only thing I was going to say is your feedback on the biggest moment of the weekend, and that's the Usos turning their back on Roman Reigns. What did you think of this?
Interesting. I thought the angle was odd for me that it was Jimmy leading that, right? Like, that went through me for a loop because we've talked about this whole time. Like, it started with Jay, it should end with Jay.
And so
Jimmy finally cracked here.
Because it didn't take long for Jimmy. Because Jimmy's a ride or die until you push him. And then he's a quick to the gun, fuck you, I'm going to shoot you in the head kind of guy. I love Jimmy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Jay's the one that's like, God dang it, I'm conflicted. And I'm not, bitch. I'm either riding with you or I'm shooting you in the head. That's it.
We are here or we're there. But we ain't between them two fucking things. We're either here or we're there. You say the wrong thing, we'll be there. But you keep saying the right things, we'll be right here. Yeah. Yeah. I know those people.
That's a good one.
Folks. Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's a good phrase.
Hit us up on Twitter, #TweetTable. Let us know which one of us is which one of those on the Spanish Announce Table. And we'll leave you with that until next week. And hope you'll be our friend right here on Pro Wrestling's Best Podcast.
The Spanish Announce Table.